coming to you live from Studio F in Russia, Ohio. It's the Fish Report Live Show with your hosts, Craig Fissinger and Ken Francis.
Welcome, everyone, to another Fish Report Live. It is Wednesday night, February 13th. Thanks for joining us tonight. My name's Craig Fissinger. That's Ken Francis. Back in the sound room, TK and Heavy D are back with us again this week. Our water boy Ross is running around here somewhere tonight, Ken. He's back. And I'm looking at the interview schedule tonight, and I'm guessing it's getting close to the end of winter.
Well, it's got to be, Craig, because we're going to talk a lot of boys and girls high school basketball tournament time already. And we've got a special interview covering some spring training baseball. So going to be a fun night tonight. And just like every Wednesday night, we have a good time on the show. And if we didn't, we wouldn't be here, right?
You got that right. So let's get things started. We got a lot to cover. Let's start things like we do every week with that weekly trivia question. I'm on a one-game winning streak or a one-show winning streak. I'm going to try to make it 2 in a row tonight.
All right, Craig. Well, I got a fun one for you tonight. All right. The question is, who is the career home run leader at the University of Toledo? In baseball.
I know one guy that's we're talking to tonight.
One guy we're talking to. He played baseball there, right?
Yeah, he did.
Career home run leader at the University of Toledo. All right. Is it A, Jared Hoyne, who we're going to be talking to later?
All right.
B, Randy Schaefer, who happens to be Jared's uncle.
Okay.
Or C, Dave Francis, who happens to be your uncle-in-law.
All right. Jared Hoyne, Randy Schaefer, or Dave Francis. One of those leads Toledo in home runs, huh?
Yeah, one of them three. They're all from Shelby County, and they all played baseball at the University of Toledo.
Okay. Well, I'll need a little help on that. So if you got the answer to that, maybe send us a tweet or a text and give me a little help. I'll send something out on Twitter here in just a little bit. All right, Ken, well, let's get things started tonight. Like we do most weeks, talking girls basketball, and the end of the regular season just happened here this past week. And let's take a look at those standings and see how things finished up.
Well, the Anna Rockets, for the third consecutive year, Craig, went 12-0. Very impressive run by Coach Billing and his Lady Rockets. But it wasn't easy. The last week of the year, he had to go to Russia and win a very tough game against a really good Russia team. And then he had to host the Fort Loramie Redskins, in which turned out to be just a fantastic game, a game in which Fort Loramie led the entire way until about 8 seconds left in the game when Natalie Billing hit a running layup to actually give the Anna Rockets a 1-point victory. So, some interesting league standings there, but again, hats off to Anna Rockets as they captured their third consecutive undefeated season.
All right, unfortunately for the rest of the teams on that list there, Anna will be in the D3 tournament, and the rest of those will be in the D4 tournament. So let's talk a little D4 tournament. In particular, the games coming up in Sydney starting this Saturday. Let's go through those games and tell me what we got.
Well, the opener to start the tournament, Craig, is going to be a very interesting one. You're going to have the Bakkens Trojans against Troy Christian. The winner of this game gets Russia on the following Tuesday night, so the Russia fans are going to have a lot of interest in that game. I think it's going to be a very good game. I look for Bakkens, though, to come out on top on that one, Craig. Even though their record's not quite as good as Troy Christian's, I think they've played a much tougher schedule, and I think they're going to come through with a victory there. The second game's got Fort Loramie against Riverside. No contest there, Craig. And then Triad and Houston in the nightcap. I think that's going to be a pretty good game, but, Houston's going to have to play very well to stay with Triad.
Well, you mentioned that first game, that Bakkens, that Troy Christian game. I'm really interested in that. Like you said, a 5 and a 6 seed playing, but mostly because the winner of that game plays Russia. And let's go to the guys in the back. I want to ask them. There are girls experts this year. Guys, give me a little preview on that. What do you guys know about Bakkens and Troy Christian?
Yeah, Bakkens has got 6-6 in the Shelby County League. Coach Mack's going to have his team ready to play. You got 6 seniors, 5 returning lettermen for the Trojans. Logan Pitts is going to pound it inside. You got Hannah Cott shooting from outside, and Claire McCall is always tough. They're going to give Troy Christian all they want. I look for them to get past Troy Christian, and then a good rematch, hopefully, with the Raiders, who they played tough at Russia here recently. I think TK's got an inside scoop on Troy Christian.
Yeah, like you said, it's tough to know when you got two teams that come out of completely different conferences, how they're going to match up. I did talk to some people and looked some things up. 3 teams they played in both Bakkens and Troy Christian played Riverside, Ridgemont, and New Bremen, and they came out the same. They both beat Ridgemont and Riverside. They both lost to New Bremen with nearly the same scores. So, like you said, it's going to be a close matchup. The key for Troy Christian, I think, is they get the ball around to a lot of different girls, a lot of different scores. They got Amanda Sloan, Amanda Benjamin, and Lydia Dermott are two or three of their key players. But as I said, there's probably 4 or 5 girls on that squad that score a fair amount depending on the game. So it'll be a good matchup, a good game to go watch.
All right, guys, great report, and looking forward to a lot of fun starting this Saturday. Ken, that's going to do it for SEL Girls Talk, but we've talked to a lot of SEL athletes and coaches here this season, but occasionally we step outside of the conference and talk to some stars from some other leagues, don't we?
Yes, we do. We've been outside of the Shelby County League multiple times, especially when it came to football and cross country and things like that, and no different for basketball. And, in the MAC this year in basketball, we've had Kyle Arns from Versailles. We've also had Kyle Pippinger from Tri-Village out of the cross-country conference. So not unusual for us to step out of the Shelby County League. We actually enjoy doing it because it gives our listeners a feel for some of the other good athletes throughout the area.
Well, tonight we're going up to the Northwest Central Conference and talking girls hoops with one of the best, Ken. She was the NWCC's Player of the Year in girls basketball as a sophomore and a junior. This year as a senior, Waynesfield-Goshen point guard Kaylee Patton is having an outstanding career. She just broke a school record for career points a couple weeks ago, has over 1,900 career points, Ken, and this season in particular, she's averaging 26.3 per game.
Yeah, she's a phenomenal player, Craig. She's already signed to play at Division II Tiffin, which will make her parents awful happy because Tiffin and Waynesfield-Goshen are actually fairly close. So, we're really happy to have Kaylee Patton on the line with us tonight. And Kaylee, can you hear us?
Yes, thank you for having me.
All right, Kaylee. Hey, listen, welcome to Fish Report Live. And first of all, congrats on a great season. Congrats on a great career so far that isn't even finished yet. I want to ask, when you're playing in some of these gyms for the last time, you're setting records. I mean, do you have time to reflect on all this as it happens, or is that something you'll do after the season's over?
I think it'll definitely happen more once the season is over. But I do, when I get home at night, I'm kind of like, wow, that was the last time that I'll ever play there. And it's kind of a feeling of relief knowing that I give 100% all the time. And I just know that that's one of the things that makes me play hard, is knowing that it's going to be the last time that I'll ever get to play in this places.
All right. Well, we mentioned a little earlier that you broke an old school record for career points just a couple weeks ago. The previous record was actually held on the boys' side. It was 1,802 points. It's set by a guy by the name of Kyle Herndon 22 years ago in 1991. Now, I know that was before you were born. And
Right.
Yeah, give us your secret. I mean, what does it take to score that many points in a career?
Definitely having the teammates that I have had. And I've actually been blessed with teammates that can shoot the three, and post players inside that when they don't go over to help, I'm just able to drive to the basket, and that's where I get a lot of my points from.
Now, you actually broke the girls' record, I understand, not too long ago, and that was held by your sister. Is that correct?
Yes, my sister had the record, and I broke that my junior year.
Okay.
And
Kaylee, hi.
that was very special that we got to share that.
That is special that you got to break your sister's record. So this is Ken Francis, Kaylee, and let's talk a little bit more about this year. You recently wrapped up your league standings and you won your conference. You've got your final game, your final regular season game coming up at home against Corey Rawson. This year, the league everybody's season went to 22 games. What are your thoughts on the 22-game schedule, and how have you adjusted to that?
I definitely think once the season gets started, you really don't notice the 2 extra games. I do like playing the extra games. I just think it's good and definitely gets us ready for tournament play.
Speaking of tournament play, Kaylee, February 23rd will be your first tournament game. Your girls got the number 2 seed in the tough St. Mary's district. Are you concerned about the long layoff of 8 days between your last regular season game and your first tournament game?
I don't really worry about that because I feel like we have little things that we need to work on, and that's a good time for us to be able, and we have a good JV team this year that really helps us out, and they'll help us scrimmage, so we won't be without play. So.
After graduation, Kaylee, you're going to take your talents to Tiffin. Tell us what you liked about Tiffin and why you chose to play your future basketball years for the Dragons.
I chose to play at Tiffin. One of the biggest reasons was I went up there, and the campus was great. The people were great. It was like a big family, and once I decided to go there, I got about 4 different letters from people from Tiffin just saying, welcome to the family, and that was one of my biggest things that I was looking for in a college. And also, if I work hard this summer and keep shooting, I definitely think that I could be able to go in there and help out the team.
All right. Hey, listen, last question, Kaylee. Now, a couple weeks ago on this show, we talked to Anna Senior Natalie Billing, who I'm sure you're familiar with.
Yes.
She's being coached by her dad, and we asked her how unique that was. Now, I know you're also coached by your dad, Ted Patton, and I imagine your relationship with him is just as special. But I also understand now your grandparents are 2 of your biggest fans. Can you talk about a little bit about what they've meant to your career?
My grandparents, they, ever since I can remember, no matter where my game was, they would always be there. I know that I could count on 4 people to be at my games, and that was my parents and my grandparents, and I knew every game they'd be there. And it's really nice to have that support that you know that they're always going to be there for you no matter what. And they actually live in Upper Sandusky, and that's an hour away from Waynesfield, so I know it's a lot of traveling for them, and they're 82 and 83 years old, and I couldn't ask for better grandparents.
I understand when you broke the school scoring record, did you actually give the ball to your grandparents?
Yes, I gave the ball to my grandma and grandpa just because I know that traveling like that is a lot for them, and for them to be able to come to my games and show that support, it definitely means a lot, and I just wanted them to know that.
All right, well, that's great stuff, Kaylee. Hey, listen, good luck the rest of the season. We'll be watching the Tigers on the tournament trail, and thanks for joining us tonight on Fish Report Live.
All right, thank you. Thank you for having me.
Thanks, Kaylee, and good luck to you the rest of the season.
Thank you.
All right, Ken, that was Waynesfield-Goshen senior Kaylee Patton, and we mentioned her dad being her coach, her grandparents coming to her game, a little bit about her mom. Her mom is actually in the Hall of Fame, Basketball Hall of Fame at Upper Sandusky High School, and I also understand she was an All-American at the University of Findlay. So
yeah, she was a tremendous basketball player herself. Great skills there in the bloodlines, and Kaylee hasn't left him down. She's a phenomenal player. Anybody that can get close to 2,000 points in a career, Craig, is just amazing. So good luck to her. We really appreciate her taking her time to spend with us tonight, and that was a fun interview.
Yeah. All right, that's going to do it for our girls basketball talk. We're going to take a short little break. When we come back, we'll be talking some boys basketball, and we'll also be talking to, or you'll hear that interview with Fort Laramie alum Jared Hoying. So stay right there.
She was raised by a single mother in the heart of the Midwest. She grew up, didn't have to struggle, 'cause her mom worked hard for everything they had. She never knew her father, only knew that he was gone. She would wake to her mother crying and an empty Bible laying on the floor. Yeah. A teen with open face, she was gonna leave this town, but she fell in love, had a son. Now she's paying rent on an old farmhouse, got a job in a factory downtown, pushing out on wheels. Now it's porch cars and blue bandanas and weekend streams for you and me. All the mornings, they are time takes a toll. It's just another day of a fairy tale. Oh, it's just black coffee.
All right, welcome back to the second half of Fish Report Live. Before the break, we were talking girls basketball, had that interview with Kaylee Patton. Ken, now we're going to talk some boys basketball, and the boys' regular season is going to be officially over this Saturday. Just a couple days left before all those games are done, and let's go right to the boys' standings and look and see where we're at right now.
You know, Craig, I think these standings are real interesting. We've talked all year about the parity in this league, and I realize Jackson Center's at 10-1. But look at all the rest of the teams, and Jackson's won a lot of close games this year. But when you look at everybody else, from Bokkens all the way down to Russia, you know, there's a chance, Craig, after Friday night that there's going to only be potentially one team in the league with a winning record.
Wow.
So, you got that's a very, very unusual for that to happen. And I would say probably the first time in the history of the Shelby County League boys basketball that possibly could ever happen. So just a lot of balance this year. Looks for a very, very interesting Pickwa sectional basketball tournament.
All right, well, let's take a look at those final games this last couple days of the regular season.
Friday night, a couple, three big league games here again. Of course, the league has already been decided, but everybody wants to get on a roll here for tournaments. So Fairlawn will be going to Jackson Center, Fort Loramie on Anna, and then Houston will be taking on Bokkens. Then on Saturday night, we've got two non-league games. Bokkens traveling to Lima Perry, and Russia will be closing out the season as they entertain the Marion Local Flyers.
All right, Ken, and you mentioned everyone wanting to get on a roll there. I wanted to ask you that. I mean, with the league already being decided, Jackson Center already winning the SCL, what kind of motivation is there? I would think there would be a tendency to maybe, nothing to play for until tournament.
No, I don't think that's the case at all. I think all these teams want to go into tournament with a win or two, playing well, shooting well, a little confidence. So I think everybody's going to be out playing hard. And, expect, Fairlawn, like I said, Fairlawn at Jackson Center, even though Jackson Center's got the league wrapped up, I expect Jackson Center to give everything they got against Fairlawn. I mean, nobody's going to back down just because the league standings have been decided.
All right, well, speaking of tournament, I want to look at that Pickwa sectional. Guys, if you can bring that up, Ken, anything interesting you see in that bracket?
Well, the one interesting thing I see here is obviously Jackson Center going to the lower half of the bracket. And then several of the seeds right behind them all going away from Jackson Center, which really didn't surprise me. I think some of the buys this year, Craig, are very key because you take a look at Bokkens, for example. They've got to win 3 very tough games to get out of the Pickwa sectional, where Fort Loramie, who is actually a 4 seed, and Bokkens was the 2 seed. Loramie only has to win two games to get out of the sectional. Yeah. So I think a very key move there by Carl Ratterman and the Fort Loramie Redskins was the ability to jump on that bye and only have to win 2 games. I don't buy into the fact that, well, it's nice to play, get on the gym floor and all that stuff. I think, hey, if I only got to win 2 games, I'm only going to play 2 games versus having to play 3 games. So that's the interesting thing I see there is how some of the lower seeded teams, including Houston, Mechanicsburg, and Fort Loramie, all got buys, and some of the teams with better seeds passed on the buys and opted to play in the first round. And the way the tournament bracket panned out, Craig, I bet if they could redo it, they would take the bye now.
Let me ask you a question about that number 1 seed Jackson Center. In the past 2 weeks, they've played 5 games. 3 of those games have went to overtime. For a team that's as successful as Jackson's been, does that shake their confidence at all, or does that just make them that much tougher?
I think it makes them that much better, Craig. I think it gets them used to that close game situations, and but they're not going to have an easy way out of Pickwa either. Like I said, Fairlawn will be there. Lehman, they've had some, or I'm sorry, not Fairlawn, but Lehman and Houston. Houston jumped into the Jackson bracket. They've battled Jackson Center very tough both times they've played them. So not an easy trail for anybody.
All right, and the other bracket I want to look at, Ken, is how about those MAC teams over in that Coldwater sectional? Let's take a look at that, and what do you think about that?
Well, what an interesting bracket that turned out to be with New Bremen getting the 1 seed, St. Henry the 2, and then most of the teams ended up staying away from St. Henry. New Bremen is 17-3. They've got 1 loss in the MAC. They're probably going to be MAC co-champions or maybe MAC champions. And they're sitting there, and in their first tournament game, Craig, they may have to play a top 10 team in the state in Fort Recovery.
Boy.
just a really tough sectional.
Yeah. All right. Well, that's Ken, that's going to do it, I think, for our tournament talk and our boys basketball talk. And you mentioned at the top of the show we got a little spring training to talk about too. And the season is the baseball season is close when Russia coach Rick Gold has his annual baseball camp, don't you?
Yes, he does. Every February, he has 2 weeks of a baseball camp, and for the young kids. And I'll tell you what, it's really special. These guys just love it up there, and he gets some great coaches to come in and help him out. And it was no different this year. Last Sunday was the camp, and then it's again this coming Sunday. And they put the kids through a lot of drills. The kids learn a lot. And but again, phenomenal teachers he brings in, including Texas Ranger minor leaguer Jared Hoyne.
Yeah, Jared's actually on his way across the country right now, heading to spring training, and he stopped just long enough yesterday to talk to us on the phone and do a little interview. And let's check out and see what Jared had to say.
Fish Report Live here with Army alum Jared Hoyne, who is a professional baseball player in the Texas Rangers organization right now. Jared, thanks for taking a few minutes to talk with us today.
Hey, not a problem, Craig. Thanks for having me.
First of all, I know you're traveling somewhere, and I know that pitchers and catchers reported to spring training this week, but you're an outfielder. So where are you at right now, and when do you report?
Actually, my report date is the 15th. They told me to come down the 15th and, kind of work out alongside some of the big leaguers and, kind of whenever they have to need some extra bodies to do some drills and, things of that nature. I just kind of hop in, and it's a good opportunity to work with the big leaguers, and it also gets me in the sunshine and out of the 30-degree Ohio weather.
All right, now the last time we interviewed you was for our Fish Report website back in August of 2011, and at that time you were with the Rangers single-A club down in Myrtle Beach, and last year you finished the season with the double-A club in Frisco, Texas. I want you to explain to me, what kind of skills get you to that next level. I mean, if you're hitting, let's say, 300 at the single-A level, does that automatically mean you're moving up to the double-A level? How does that work?
A lot of it, obviously success on the ball diamond is most of it, but it also you have to incorporate age, how long a person's been in the system, how many years has he been in, say, A ball. Do they want to push them fast, or do they want to let them get a little more confidence? There's a lot that goes into the decision, but hitting 300 never looks bad. So usually when you're doing that, they start talking about you, and then usually they want to move you.
Now, I know you were back at home in Fort Laramie during the off season. We saw you at a few high school basketball games this year. But what kind of baseball things did you work on back home to get you ready for spring training coming up?
I did a lot of things. Most people don't know that. They just think I sit around. I get 4 months to do whatever after the baseball season, but they don't realize it's still my job during the off season too. So I put a lot of hours. I'd go up to the YMCA and work out 4 times a week, lifting, running, swimming, all sorts of stuff like that. And I'd take a couple more hours and I'd hit. I'd just set up a simple net and a tee in my garage, and I just hit off that for hours. And then a couple of times a week I go up to the high school with Coach Bill Sturwald, and he would throw to me. We'd lower the batting cage down in the gym. So it's my 3rd off season now. So I kind of got it dialed in pretty good, and I kind of know where my body needs to be going into spring training.
Now, one of the things you did back home was you helped out last Sunday at Russia coach Rick Gold's baseball camp. And I wasn't able to attend that, Jared, but we have some video of you instructing the kids at the camp, and you seem to be having as much fun as them. Now, what's that like for you to help those kids out that are just starting to learn the game of baseball?
It's I can't stop smiling. I love teaching kids baseball. I'm a baseball nut, and I just love it so much. And I see 70 kids have big smiles on their faces, taking ground balls, hitting off the tee, listening to people talk about baseball and trying to help them out. It really means a lot. It just shows that there's a lot of baseball interest in this area, and it feels so good to just to give back to those kids, and just a few tidbits that I've learned along my full line of baseball that I know I wish I'd have known when I was that age.
Hey, we got one more question, and we'll let you go. And this is kind of off the subject of baseball, but on Fish Report Live, we've been known to talk a little deer hunting. And I know you're a pretty avid deer hunter yourself, and I think your brother Justin is too. I got to ask, how did this past hunting season go, and who got the bigger deer this year?
Oh yeah, I'm a huge deer hunter. That's my whenever I get back from the season, that's my chance to wind down and just relax, just go sit up in a deer stand. So it's another good deer hunting season. I shot one doe earlier archery season. Then I shot a pretty good, decent 8-point buck with my bow. And then I also got a button buck during shotgun season. So it was good year for me, but my brother, he got skunked again for the second year in a row. So I got the bragging rights for a few years now.
All right, well, listen, that's great stuff, Jared. Hey, thanks for talking with us today, and good luck in spring training.
Yep, thanks a bunch, guys. Appreciate it.
All right, Ken, a lot of fun talking to Jared Hoyne. And I noticed you pulled this bat out here, and it looks an awful lot like the bat that was in that video.
Yeah, it is. You know, I noticed this bat in that video when he was playing there for the Texas Rangers minor league team, and I think he hit one in the gap actually with this bat. Craig.
Did you steal that from him, or where did?
No, actually, believe it or not, he gave it to my son at the baseball camp last Sunday. So pretty fortunate. Thanks, Jared, for the bat, and my son thinks it's big time stuff, and so do we. So appreciate that.
All right, that's pretty cool, and that's going to do it for our Jared Hoyne talk. Ken, one more note before I forget. Before we were talking basketball, you mentioned that Russia-Marion local game. The Russia Athletic Boosters wanted me to make sure I let people know there is a party after the game. That's what it's called, party after the game, coming up after that Russia-Marion game. So hopefully a lot of Russia-Marion people go up to St. Remy Hall and have a lot of fun up there. Lots of stuff to eat and drink, and they're going to be having a lot of door prizes up there, including some big auction items. There's a Dayton Dragons luxury suite they're going to be auctioning off, some Craig Stam and Corey Lupke talking baseball, a lot of autograph stuff from those two guys, some Cincinnati Bengals merchandise up there, I think an autographed boot worn by one of the ladies. And so that'll be a lot of fun to see that auctioned off too. But should be a lot of fun. So hopefully the Russia and Maria Stein community can come up there and enjoy that on Saturday night. All right, Ken. Well, let's end things with that trivia question you asked me at the beginning of the night. Repeat that for me again. I'm going to look for some help here.
All right. I hope you get a lot of help on this one. But the question was, who is the career home run leader at the University of Toledo? The career home run leader at the University of Toledo. Is it A, Jared Hoyne, who we just seen him hitting some balls there, Craig? Mm-hmm. B, Randy Schaefer, who's Jared's uncle, or C, Dave Francis, who's your uncle?
Yeah. All right. Well, those are three great choices. I know Dave, he always talked about what a great second baseman he was, so I'm going to assume he was more of a defensive guy. Randy Schaefer was actually my high school coach. He didn't teach me anything about hitting home runs, so I'm going to eliminate him. I'm going to go with our guest tonight, Jared Hoyne.
You know what? You're right.
All right.
Jared Hoyne is the career home run leader at the University of Toledo, Craig. He actually hit 34 home runs in only 3 years. Wow. So that's what's even more impressive about it. He did it over a 3-year career. So congratulations to Jared, but a special thanks for being on our show tonight.
All right. Well, two shows in a row for me, so I'm pretty happy. I'm going to go home happy tonight. All right, Ken, that's going to do it for our show. Special thanks to Jared Hoyne for joining us tonight and that interview, and to Kaylee Patton for coming on with us live. For the crew here at Fish Report Live, thanks for watching. Be sure to tune in again next week, same time, same place. Have a great rest of the week, everyone, and good night.
From Studio F in Russia, Ohio, for Ken Francis, Craig Kissinger, and TK, this is Heavy D, signing off saying good night and good fishing.